Welcome, Sojourner. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Fairy and the Free. We most recently left off as Samoon challenged the proud, noble genie. And now we continue the story to find out what happens to the Sojourners when they insult someone of notoriety in Skyworld. And so for now, our story continues.
I will not. I stand here before you again and I ask you, who are you? How do you know me?
Make a strength saving throw. Triyina with her -2.
Oh no, I do have -2. I rolled a 17, so it's a 15.
Okay. Fail.
I was so excited. I was like, oh, 17, I have to have at least +1.
I rolled
Samoon,
exactly a 15, or exactly 18. Like, I rolled a 13
nice.
plus 5, so 18
That's
exactly.
perfect. That's kind of what I wanted. So, Bertie.
I have 19.
Okay, fine.
Bertie's knelt over. Look at her bag.
This genie begins to, in her anger and complete indignance, channel this whirlwind. Triyina, you are lifted up off the ground and restrained as if she was holding you aloft. The poor hippo, man, the footman is also lifted off the ground, and his fat little feet are just skidding. He's like, I don't like the air. I don't like the air. Meanwhile, the maid servant is just trembling at the ire of her mistress. Bertie, you are not even moving at all. And presenting the gold before this footman, he goes flying off into the air about 20 feet upwards, completely ignoring your plea and your demonstration of wealth. Samoon, you have not moved. I would like a response from you as you witness the flash of increased indignance in this genie's eyes.
All right, so Samoon is still like holding his ground and he's just like staring at her. And so as he's staring, like he notices the wind pressure change, but also like he feels kind of like air swirling around his ankles, coming in as kind of like a bracer. So to him, he notices it, but he's not paying attention to it. He just thinks he's just standing his ground. And so then he hears this gif flying up and crying out and seeing Triyina. He's gonna just like break his concentration for a moment and just look back and then sees where the air is coming from. Wait, are you a genie?
She smiles and says, a little too late, which is why the world was better. And you were the servant, and I was the queen. I'll teach you some manners. And she throws Triyina and the footman. Strength saving throw DC 13 to avoid damage.
Can I cast levitate on Triyina?
That will give her advantage on this strength saving throw. Yes, you may.
Well, my first roll was an 18. My second roll is a natural 1, so just stick with that 18 minus 2 is 16.
Yeah, Samoon definitely intercedes in this moment, whether you know it or not, Triyina. So you do not take any damage, but you are prone and you are 50 feet away. And you kind of just skate gently on the ground, thrown. The genie doesn't recognize any of this. The footman just gets dropped to the ground. He smashes at the foot of Bertie. The gold kind of just splatters everywhere, and he begins to collect it up in absolute terror. And he's looking through the manual to find out what to do in this sort of situation. The pages are just flying everywhere. He looks to you, Bertie, and just says, someone needs to call for help.
We can help. I mean, we're here. Well, I mean, you can hire us today for security.
He just vehemently shakes his head at this moment, and then he points and he says, oh no, he made her mad. She calls forth an air elemental at her side and says, "I'll teach you some manners." And then she just throws down her payment at the foot of this hippo. She and her mistress walk in, and this hulking figure that looks like a necklace humanoid with hollow eyes just pounds an ethereal fist together and begins laughing. Roll initiative. He aims to teach you some manners, Samoon. Samoon.
27. I have that alert feat.
Oh, and indeed, are you alert? So please, Samoon, as you see this air elemental, he's got these broad, rippling muscles, necklace body. He's grinning, looking like he's just ready to smash in your face and leave you bleeding in a gutter somewhere. But it's your turn. For the purpose of movement, you are engaged. You are both engaged with him.
What? Like, Samoon's kind of, his arms are reached out towards the direction of Triyina, both of them, having casted the levitate. But his stance is still straightforward. So as this thing appears, Samoon's gonna get a bit angry himself. Internally, he's recognizing the error of his ways in these moments, but at the same time, he's really taken aback by the statement that she said about us being servants and the genies are the supreme and yada yada yada. And Samoon is taking it personal because he doesn't know his parents. He's never been a servant to anyone. He's just, lived life growing up kind of fending for himself apart from what the orphanage did. So he's kind of, on a personal level, he's hurt in this moment. And so he's in his short-sighted rage, recognizing that the situation isn't going to go away. He's just going to pull off this staff one more time, and he's just going to buck down. And she thinks she can say that to me, and she does not even know me. I will show her. And I'm going to just swing that staff right at the Genasi's center mass.
Yep. So armor class is gonna be 13.
Oof. So in his rage, like tears are kind of swelling in his eyes. So he takes the first strike, and he's not thinking, so he overcompensates for his power, and he's going to swing 5. So he's going to swing with a 10. So as the first strike misses, the elemental kind of just like slightly backs up just out of the reach of the staff, and nobody's going to talk to me like that. And he's going to come back around with the second, using his extra attack.
Angry Samoon.
Yeah. So that will be a 15 to hit. The first one, the elemental kind of backs up, and feeling taunted, he realizes like this is not a moment to let the emotion get to him. And so he corrects his stance, and he rears the opposite direction with the staff, more precise, striking right across the torso. So 1d8. So that's going to be a 7 plus the 1 for the +1. So that's 8 plus 2, 9, 10. Yep, 10.
Well done. He absorbs the blow and backs up a little bit. His eyes get wide, ready to attack, but it is still Bertie's turn. You saw this hippo footman just pointing in panic. He scoots back and says, "Oh, it's about to get violent," and gives you a chance to react. So your turn.
Oh, she sees Samoon flying off the handle. This thing. She's kind of like, okay, I guess we're gonna join the party. And then she rages and goes reckless. Grandma shows up with her pipe. The baby halfling is very extra temperamental and bangs his rattle down on the ground. And she is going to take a hit at the genie with her bracers. Just punch it. Oh, the henchman thing.
The henchman,
right?
okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
I don't know why I imagined like a genie.
Well, it's a very muscular looking man, but he has like very air looking body, so he doesn't look corporal. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna punch it.
Good. AC 13.
Natural 20.
Fantastic. How much?
19. So that'd be 19 points of damage.
And you added your strength too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna punch him again if he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. You just walk by and just slam him in the groin. Boom.
Okay, that would be a 23 to hit.
Wow. Don't mess with these two.
11 points of damage.
Getting tag teamed by this dynamic duo. The henchman
Can I-
realizes he's up against two foes. Go ahead.
He has disadvantage now on attack.
Why?
My Ancestral Protectors, while raging, the first creature you hit with an attack your turn that has disadvantage on any attack that isn't against me.
Nice. Okay. Well, it is now his turn. He's going to do his slam attacks against Samoon. 16 and a 26.
I mean, both hit then. Yeah, 15 is to beat then.
28 bludgeoning damage. He just takes two haymakers to you. Smack, smack. And he sees you still standing. Just call me a breath of fresh air. And then he squeaks a little high as Bertie slams into his midsection.
Yeah, so that's going to put Samoon on a knee. I'm not down. I still have hit points. I have 5, just so you're aware, because I wasn't fully healed. Yeah, so he gets the 2-shot pummel back. He responds to his statement. Well, lucky for me, I have the breath taker. And he just taunts him with his staff.
Triyina, you are 50 feet away, and you can hear, you gently slide on the ground and absorb none of the damage from the stone floor beneath you. Look back over your shoulder, and you see that Samoon and Bertie are in this street fight with this elemental thug.
How far away am I from the genie?
She has kind of rounded the corner, so yeah, she is probably, I would say 100 feet away, because she's already past the walls of the castle.
So it's not feasible for me to go run up and grovel at her feet. So Triyina pushes herself up and looks around, and her eyes are tearing up because she's so frightened and afraid when she got lifted up. She looks around for the genie to try to make amends and beg her to change her mind, but the genie is gone and out of sight. Panicked, she stands up all the way, raises her hands, and just shouts, "Leave my friends alone!" and casts Mind Sliver. It's a DC 13 intelligence save from the elemental.
Intelligence?
Yes.
So that's 12, -2.
All right,
12.
-2. So he takes 10 points of psychic damage. Subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of my next turn. And I'm going to use the rest of my movement to start running towards them.
Can you close the gap? Or I don't think so, but you're 50 feet away.
I could run 15 feet, and then I could teleport for, I think, 30 more feet.
Like a bonus action?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bonus action or not for my phase step ability. I think it would be a full action, so probably not.
Okay, so you're just 35 feet away.
Oh, I can use it as a bonus action.
There you go.
I can magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space.
You can get within 5 feet if you wish.
No, I'm a rogue. I want my distance. I'll just start running.
Very good. Save your bonus action, and Samoon at the top of the round. After taking this heavy, thunderous damage, he's starting to sweat a little bit, especially after getting smashed. And then you see his mind hold his head a little bit. He's looking around for a third enemy. And so he turns a little bit to see where this spell is coming from, giving you an opportunity to attack. So it is your turn.
As he turns, Samoon sees an opening, and so he's going to just say under his breath, may use this too. And he's going to cast his Hunter's Mark on this beast. And he's going to make a strike again, like the first one. He's got the staff, and he's going to do like an uppercut motion from a kneeling position for his first hit. He's going to miss bad. That's a nat 1. Again, with this movement, Samoon's not quite figured out. Like he's able to somehow sense his presence. So Samoon's going to then twirl the staff around and kind of do like a spin, and then come back through with that overhand strike on his second hit, which is going to be a 12, so a 17. And then my strength is +2, 13, 14 total damage.
It's a good hit. He feels it, and it hits him across the face as he turns to look back at you.
No, so Samoon he's going to just strike, and then he's just going to hold his ground.
Okay.
And just he's expecting this beast to hit him.
Yeah, and you can see that the little ancestor of Bertie is spinning around you, resembling a tornado cyclone, attempting to protect you from harm. And then this elemental begins to generate some tornado energy of its own. Bertie, you're at its kneecap, and it is your turn.
I'm gonna move sort of in between Samoon and the elemental. So it's trying to draw its focus, and then I'm going to just punch it. 13?
That's a hit.
10 points of damage, and then I'm gonna hit it again. That one would be a miss with an 8.
Nope. You swing, and this time he just grabs you by the head, Bertie, and spins you all the way back around through its body, and you're on his backside all of a sudden.
Boo.
Sad news, Bertie. And he says, "Not so fast." And then he generates that tornado energy. Everyone except for Triyina must make a strength saving throw 13 or higher.
18.
You stand your ground.
25.
Like a rock, Bertie. And you do realize that at this point you've been carrying around some rocks in your pocket that have held you down to the ground. And nearly your pants are just held like an anchor to the ground, but you almost go flying through your pants, and you have to grab really quickly to keep your body from escaping this heavy weighted item. He looks incredibly angry now, and just sees you and backs away almost as if in fear. And he looks like he resigns to finish the job, and he raises a hand to smash into you, Samoon. But it is Triyina's turn.
Found him that if I were to enter, I would be blown away. Could I perceive that?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah, the whirlwind is sustained at this for the remainder of his turn.
Darn. I had something really cool in mind. I think I'm going to do it anyways. We'll see what happens. So, I just want to make sure I've got the picture clear in my head. So, Elemental's in the middle. Bertie ran through him and is now at its back, and Samoon is right in front of it.
Indeed.
Okay. And you said he'd backed away, but he just kind of...
He looked a little surprised that Samoon didn't fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Triyina is continuing to run forward. She's going to run about 10 more feet forward, and then she's going to use her bonus action now to face step right where Bertie was standing before Bertie ran through. And with her rapier in hand, she's going to go for a sneak attack, if you'll let me, to stab it through with her rapier.
Oh, I love it.
Let me just roll this first. Oh no. The one time I get a bad roll, and it was so cool. I have 11 to hit, unfortunately. 4 plus 7.
No. Your rapier just goes straight through his body.
Do I need to do
You
anything?
stand.
Like a strength saving throw to keep from being blown back?
Now you do, yes. DC 13.
5.
15 points of damage, and you are flung over the castle wall onto the ground, where you take another 5 points of damage as your body hits the ground. Whether you intended to go into the castle, you are now within the castle grounds, Triyina.
And I didn't pay 10 gold to get there.
Okay, Samoon, you see Triyina, or did you see Triyina? She appeared there very quickly. You felt the flash of her rapier, and then all of a sudden, boom, just tossed out like some poor shack in the middle of the prairie. Tornado casts her aside, and yet you are still grounded, standing there face to face with this elemental thug. He just looks at you, ready to just smash this haymaker on top of you, and says, "I'll teach you a lesson to speak against the genies." It is your turn.
Perhaps it is the genies that should be taught a lesson themselves. And he's going to take his first strike again. And that is a nat 20. I don't even add modifiers to that. So that is a nat 20. So first one is a 7.
Yeah.
Oh, and another 7. So, so 14 for the dice, 15 for the +1 on the staff, and then 16, 17 with my strength modifier.
He had 16 hit points left. So you knock him unconscious. Bertie is completely behind him. Triyina just got thrown, and yet you have the staff, and it finds purchase. How does this appear?
I'm going to treat this as a double attack. The way that Samoon did it was he noticed that the elemental kept missing his first hit. And so he does a sweep move with the leg. And he sweeps it on the ground, and then as he gets that perfect sweep, he brings his arms above him, and it looks like your breath is mine, and he just slams down right on the chest as the elemental hits the ground.
And he just gets thrown back, and he lands backwards on the ground, and his ethereal form goes straight through Bertie. And then he begins to dissipate, slowly becoming one again with the air and the clouds and the sky. And he leaves behind a little golden ring. Tinks on the ground, the only thing of him that remains behind.
I'm going to pick up the ring. I'm not going to put it on, though. I think we disturbed the whole area, guys.
Yeah, and there's a wide berth now of people who are in line behind you. They're kind of just standing and watching, and a couple of them just, reluctantly put some paper money in each other's hands. Oh, golly, I can't believe they did a pretty good job. Yeah. You see one of the drow families just covering their children's eyes. Don't look, it's terrible violence. Absolutely awful. And then the footman stands up, and he's completely disheveled. His jacket's turned around on the other side of his body, and his hat is on the ground. He picks it up and proudly puts it on his head and says, "Next." Hello, Sojourners. This is Jonathan. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should visit Tabletop Audio. Find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And if you would like to support the podcast, you can find Sojourners Awake on Patreon. And so for now, our story continues. And he looks over at you and says, security detail. Check. I do believe your companion is already at work on the other side of the castle wall. And he graciously motions for you to enter into Castle Feathermore.
As he says that, Samoon is he's kind of paused for a moment in like his final strike over where the elemental once was. And he's just kind of seething. His appearance is pretty beat up. He's got a little like some blood trickling down his lip off to the side. You can see like his face is dirty. His clothes, have been kicked up with the dirt of the street. But he's just kind of, but you can see like how he's been described before. Like you can see like he's an athletic build, so he's not like a muscular hulking dude, but he's a young fit guy. And so you can see like his arms are pretty tight right now. He's exerted a lot of energy, and you can kind of just see him kind of just pulsating with hurt. Not so much rage anymore because it's dissipated, but you can see like he's just appears hurt. And so, after that, he kind of just closes his eyes, he breathes, and then he feels like his rib, and his ribs hurt. He's taking a good beating right now, and he just kind of takes the staff and kind of just kneels on it as like a walking stick. Bertie, are you okay? Thank you for coming to the aid there. I apologize. It was not my intention to escalate things so quickly. I don't know what came over me.
I'm always fine. I think we need to find you a potion or some healing. I mean, you look pretty terrible. You look almost as bad as Trina did when she had her flap arms.
Well, I assure you, I will try not to be as dramatic as that. I will be fine, I promise. But a potion would be nice, and perhaps an opportunity to just kind of sit down and think about things for a moment, he says with a chuckle.
And then you see Triyina lying in the courtyard stone, people walking by her, not giving her any attention or paying no mind. They continue walking on, and the party begins to fill up in the courtyard.
My little baby halfling, or my little baby halfling and my grandma halfling are kind of like dissipating back into me, like rejoining me, but I'm sort of just walking sort of proudly back with looking for Trina, holding my head up high like, yeah, I did deserve to come in.
Triyina, you notice your sojourners walking towards you.
They even come into the courtyard. I'm pushing myself up. My hands are scraped. My knees are scraped. I've got blood coming down the side of my face. I've taken quite a beating myself. But I'm not crying this time. I'm holding it together. And when they come in, I look at them. Did you get it?
Samoon's just gonna kind of look at Triyina and just give a thumbs up.
Good. Let's go ruin some genie's night.
I was going to say, are there any shops or anything that are open yet?
So you're now within Castle Feathermore, and the first entrance beyond the Great Wall is this enormous courtyard where there are tents set up with various jugglers and parlor tricks and magicians performing simple spells for entertainment. And everyone is gathered around in very elegant clothing and illustrious hats, and it's very much a family-friendly event within this courtyard. There's a small little petting zoo, and then there's a sign that says, "Hunt your own dinner." And there's a small little table as well for disgusting treats and eats. And there's a couple of mostly brave souls who have lined up to test their constitution. And as is customary, you notice that no one's really entering into the castle entrance at this point. They're all enjoying the party, as this was the first course of the bright evening. So while you're in the courtyard, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna look around and see if there's a first aid tent set up somewhere.
Yes, there is. There's a little area where a couple of hippogriffs, the hippo people, are gathered around, and one of them, Galana, is sitting there, proudly just humming to herself, waiting for some attention.
Trina recognizes Galana, and she sighs heavily. Hey, Bertie, I know you want to investigate this party, and we definitely will, but I think I need to get cleaned up for a minute. And then can we go?
Yeah, I think we better. Samoon's looking kind of, well, half dead, really. So, we should probably go over to the lady hippo.
Yeah. Don't they have any more nurses in this town? Maybe you do the talking for us.
Samoon's going to chuckle at Bertie. It feels like I am mostly dead.
Yeah.
Yes, I think going to get some type of healing would be nice. And a drink. I would like to drink something.
Well, as
I
you
would
walk
like to
over,
drink something too.
and there's plenty to drink. There are uh, attendants walking around serving free for the taking bebidas and beverages of all kinds that for imbibement. And of course, there are plenty of sparkling drinks for any children that would take part in this section of the party.
Not paying attention, she grabs off a glass drink of something sparkling. She definitely wants something stronger, but she didn't look to see what she grabbed. So you tell me what I got.
Okay. Roll a d8.
A 1.
1. So you grab, it's this ridiculously cotton candy flavored bubblegum drink. And as you drink it, your mouth begins to fill up with this sticky substance. And you now have a very large piece of chewing gum. And one of the drow children walk up and says, "Mom, I want one. She drank it. Be kind. Sorry." And she, excuse me, can we get one more bubblegum drink, please? His attendant brings one by, and the child chugs it, begins chomping wildly, and all of a sudden he begins to blow a balloon up, and he begins to float off the ground, drifting away. Children, do you have any of your own?
I do, actually.
Wonderful.
A little girl.
Oh, wonderful. I would love a little girl. I have been gifted only with 2 boys. They are rambunctious, and as you can see, they love to take after their father in dangerous treks.
Yeah, she wipes some of the blood that's coming down the side of her face off her head and is like, yeah, kids, you know.
You are hurt, my child. You should... Is everything okay?
Oh yeah, everything's fine. We're headed over to get this taken care of. I just took a little bit of a nasty fall. You know, not all the drinks are bubbly. Bubblegum.
Yes, yes, you are not from here. Let me tell you. And she begins to affectionately and motherly, like, pull you close. It is difficult to get used to Skyworld. I know. I understand. It was not born here, but it has been for the best. You see as she puts her hand on her chest, a small tattoo of a dove. It was not always this way, but believe me, you will get used to it. And it will not always hurt when you fall. Here, and she gives you a feather. From one former traveler to another.
No, thank you. That's very kind. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
What was your name?
I'm Duvana. My husband, Devasta, is over there.
I really appreciate your kindness. My name is Trina, and these are my friends, Samoon and Bertie. It's nice to make friends in a new place.
Welcome to Skyworld. You are not from here, I assume. It's not always this festive here. The night gets a little more rambunctious, I might warn you, if you progress into the party. Be careful what you drink. I would tell you, over there is the bubblegum drink if you want to fly. Helium bar over there. And if you If you are wanting to become a giant, you can drink those drinks over there. If you are wanting to increase your size for party reasons, I myself do not partake in that. I am happy with my family. We are only here because of, my husband's work requires him to be here and attend these parties. He is manager of the Cloud Factory. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, how wonderful. It sounds like quite an accomplishment.
He's worked very hard, but he always was a hard worker.
You said the Cloud Factory. Are they making clouds?
Yes.
Are these the
what we
clouds
do.
that go to Banzarel?
Absolutely, yes. We ship them out day after day. Are you from Bansara?
Oh yes, that is where we are sojourning from right now.
Well, yes. Every time you see a shade or a rainstorm, you can think of us.
So what is up then with the Cloud Forest?
Oh.
Do you guys control that too?
Oh, no, not at all. That is the wildlands, of course, of Skyworld. And, well, some people don't think it's wise that we utilize the cloud forest to make clouds. They say it's stripping this beautiful land of its natural resources. But I don't think so. And she's kind of gauging to see whether or not you disagree with her lifestyle and choice of employment. I mean, it's not really taking the land. I mean, they kind of self-generate, and we share it with Bonsarel, so I suppose it all balances out in the end. I don't know. My husband could tell you. It's above my head. Mama, Felix hasn't come down yet. Oh, and she begins to yell, Felix, the air is going to let out, drop down. She begins to yell after her children, causing a scene and looking embarrassed. And the other child starts to flop on the ground and start whining and kicking. How come he gets the balloon and I don't?
Bertie walks over to the tantrum child. Hey, can you stop? And she picks him up and puts him right upright again and said, knock it off. And then
okay. Make an intimidation check. 13. He sees it as a sign of aggression. He just starts wrestling you to the ground. And of course, he is only coming up to your belly. He's still a pretty young looking elf. And his long white hair has come undone. He starts tossing you. And of course, his mother just, no, Festus, stop. And she starts screaming towards the child who's wrestling you, and then screaming towards the child who's floating up into the air. People are now beginning to laugh and point. Soil shoes, am I right? They should go back to the underground where they belong. There's no place for them here.
I don't really have shoes on, so...
Who said that?
A couple people, high society socialites, and you kind of hear that it's just this running narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
Triyina's gonna turn to them because she's in a bad mood. And with that blood she's been trying to wipe away coming down, she's like, hey, mind your own business. It's not up to you to decide who comes here. Go on, shoot.
Bites. They insulted, they just kind of scurry off and just, come on, let's go try something else.
I'm not with the bites, but I know how to bite. Crosses her arms and turns back to Bertie and Samoon.
The child's now having a great time wrestling, and gently the other kid, the balloon just pops and he just plummets to the ground. Mother catches him. It's better here. You see? It always works out.
How would we perceive Drow being from Bonzarel? What reputation do they have?
It was they should appear very dangerous. And they do look hauntingly beautiful, but they are terrifying creatures themselves. And so they in Bonsarel, they do have a fearsome reputation, unless you've had some exploration underground.
Your boys are quite funny, ma'am. It reminds me when I was a child.
Oh,
They are just having fun. I am sure they will grow up to be very respectable like you are.
thank you. You are very gracious. It's not common to have children here and so rambunctious, but we don't know many people that I would trust with my little hooligans. So here they are. As much as it pains me, but I love them. Yes, I do.
I mean you no disrespect, for I am not in a position to disrespect anyone, I assure you. But
Oh no, you are quite the contrary. You are one of the most polite people I've met here. So,
well, thank you.
except for the hippo people, and they're incredibly polite. I appreciate their culture.
Oh yes, I got a badge from them. They are so nice. But anyway, where we come from, and I do not mean to be rude, but your people have a particular reputation about them. So, what brings you to Skyworld? You do not seem
Yes.
to be like the stories I have heard in my time exploring caves in the Underdark area. I don't know any dark elves myself, but
No, I don't know any dark elves myself, but my husband, he brought me here, and our children were born here. The short story is that we escaped. I used to have a family name. As you might know, the Drow have certain houses that they come from, but I swore an oath not to ever speak of it again. Skyworld is a wonderful place where it is very difficult to track. An ancient elder being named Yansi Bin set up Luminous. She points towards the globe. No one can scry upon you here. No one can track you down. The only thing I can tell you, and she points towards the dove, our last name is Sanctuary. And that is how my husband and I escaped here. We wanted to flee a life, the life that you are familiar with, of the Drow. And we found Sanctuary in all places, Skyworld. I never thought. If my mother would see me now, I should not think of such things. But we are happy here. It is a strange place, and it took me a while to get used to it. But now that my children are here, they know nothing of the life that I lived. It's home.
well, we all have our past. But I am curious, as Samoon's kind of showing his discomfort, leaning on the staff. We did have an encounter with a drow earlier in the day, and it does not seem so that this place is liked by all.
Oh, well, the wonderful thing about coming here is it's a fresh start. It was for me, at least. And it's a fresh start for many people. I mean, there are tensions within the city. In fact, I heard of a fight that went on just in the city streets, right outside the gates. It was... Things like that happen all the time. And honestly, it's mostly... She lowers her voice. It's mostly the tension between Feathermore, whom we are gracious guests, and, well, Count Cressian. Count Cressian will tell you, though, that he has nothing to do with these fights from the Bite Squad, or Bite Club, or whatever they are. They're hooligans, in my opinion. Vandals. They want to make Skyworld better, but I don't know. It is better for some people. So it's not without its, and I will not apologize for any other drow. So if you had an encounter with someone who was fighting you outside, or you saw something, it's... Everyone gets a fresh start here, and some choose to take different starts than others. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, that makes complete sense to me, and I agree. I think that we are judged by our character, and should not be judged by whom we appear to be in association with based on our looks.
Well,
I applaud you for your transition to this realm, and I am glad to see that you are thriving here.
I don't know if I'm thriving. And at this point, you see both of the boys have now toppled onto Bertie and they're wrestling. And actually, a couple of people have gathered around believing this to be the entertainment. And they're laughing and clapping, and the music begins to play up. And so for now, our story concludes. Every story comes to an ending, so for now we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed the lore on the Dark Elves and Duvana, then you should visit Stories by Sarah Danielle. You can find her work at www.storiesbysarahdanielle.com. And Bertie Cartwright has a mind to participate in the Hunt Your Own Dinner competition here at Castle Feathermore. If you would like to see her do this, then go to your favorite podcasting platform and leave a rating and review. And as always, Sojourner, may your story continue.